Great. Manasseh, welcome
Say,
once again.
Thank you very
So,
much.
the president Ghana never got. For many, this would have been the narrative, and you actually make reference to it in your book, if Akufo-Addo didn't become president. So, in effect, we got the president we never got, didn't we?
Well, we got him, but Akufo-Addo we were promised. We didn't get that Akufo-Addo because in 2016, we were painted a certain picture. Two things or issues influenced the election. We were tired and fed up with what we had, and we were sold or marketed an alternative that we bought into. And when that alternative was given the opportunity, try me, we did try, and he did us diffy.
What do you mean by diffy? I mean, I'm just curious. I want to be able to understand what your diffy means. Now that a lot of yes, I mean, what is captured in this book that amounts to the diffy that you're talking about?
Yes, the book is it has 7 different parts. So it has part 1, which talks about the journey. And when he said it's not about JB Dankwa, it is actually about him in some way, because Akufo-Addo's political mentor, as confirmed by Gabi Achiridako in the interview here, is JB Dankwa.
Okay.
And that's also his grand uncle. And I looked at the journey from JB Dankwa and Akufo-Addo's forebears up to his presidency. So that's the part 1, the journey. Part 2 talks about inside Akufo-Addo's presidency. And here you have something like the debt paying ministerial appointments. And that was the first disappointment many of us had. To say you want to safeguard the public purse and appoint over 100 ministers and deputy ministers, more than twice the number of ventilators we had in our public hospitals. That was quite serious. Then a number of things happened there. And here you have the good, the bad, and the ugly. You have a chapter titled From Taxation and Borrowing to IMF. We're told something else. Then also, I used right to information request and I actually got information on how the finance minister benefited from the borrowings. And it is not new, but what was new to me was that since Data Bank was formed 27 years before Ken Ofori-Atta became the finance minister, it had been used only twice for Eurobonds. And the payments, the fees, there were 3 companies that were supposed to share $150,000. So in each case, they got $50,000. So it's about $100,000. As of 2017, when he became finance minister, there were companies that were providing that service. Data Bank wasn't there. It was in 2018 that the bank was introduced. Data Bank as one of the service providers for these things. And when you look at the amount of money that the finance minister's company, that's Data Bank, made within the period, it doesn't justify the argument that we were always already being used, even before he became a finance minister. So all the details are there, and I got this information through the right to information request. So that is the part 3 talks about breaking the pillars of democracy. And for me, that's one of the most serious issues of this administration. Our court, our judiciary, is at its lowest ebb. And it is not about any political party making propaganda, but there are real issues here. Then we also have how an institution like the Auditor General or such a public office holder was hounded out, and we are getting that that office is being downgraded in terms of independence. Then we have the dying parliament, and there are a number of chapters here, very interesting chapters.
What about the dying parliament?
The dying parliament, parliament is supposed to be the one to hold the president or the executive accountable. But in this interview, I spoke to Muntaka and Joe Osewusu, and they both alluded to the effect that This is about the West Parliament in the Fourth Republic, and if we are not careful, things will really get bad. I went to have interviews. So, for instance, the Ken must go, how it happened. But it begins with getting Bagbin elected, and I think the NPP did a military-style operation that
The NDC.
the NDC,
Okay.
that even Brian Champo and Jose Wusu said, look, they had a superior one. But I also realized in the interviews or investigation for this book that whenever they were having vetting, there was often cash from the office of the chief of staff to members of the appointments committee on regular basis. And the question is, if you are to scrutinize these people and you sit to do an independent work, you have allowances, certain allowances for that work. Why does this cash have to keep coming in from the Jubilee House?
Are these ministerial appointments or what they call? Of course, we know judges' appointments do go through vetting.
Yeah, they say vetting of the nominees of the president.
Okay.
So that cash, and Jose Usu confirmed this on record.
Confirmed
Muntaka
that
confirmed it. Yes, that the cash comes. I interviewed him and he spoke on record. Muntaka also mentioned it.
So
Sorry,
the
Jose Usu.
Joe, yeah, the chairman of the committee. So in effect, you're saying that the allegations that were made that
By Blackwell and Co. remember?
could be, I mean, it's true.
They are saying that the Ablakwa and others' allegation was that one of the nominees paid directly.
Ah, okay.
But when that was what made me probe further, and they actually opened up and said, look, cash comes. And I wish I'd opened to that page so that I read what Jose Usu said, or that sometimes they'll come to me and say, oh, speaker, we need motivation, though. Then I'll call the chief of staff and they say, oh, how many are they? And the cash will come. And maybe the whips, they will take their share, the rest, they share. So this happens, and then the question is, how strong would Parliament be if this is what they're engaged in? And very interesting revelation about the Adjoa Safo debacle that Muntaka said at a point, even the NDC leadership had a meeting outside Parliament. John Mahama, the Ahoys, Kwame Pipra and others met, and they said, okay, it looks like if the woman leaves, it will not benefit us, but the speaker is trying to allow them to refer to the privileges committee and all of that. So they met the speaker. They said they delegated someone to speak to the speaker. He goes to the speaker the following day, and the speaker says, well, it is off the table. 4 days later, he said the majority leader said on Joy FM that, look, they're going to refer her. Goes back to the speaker, and the speaker says, well, I've given my word to the president, so I'm referring her. So which president? Mahama or Akufo-Addo? He says Akufo-Addo. And that was the beginning of the fight between Muntaka and then Bagbin.
Hold on. So you're saying practically that a decision was taken of which the speaker was notified. He accepts that decision.
And this decision was taken by the NDC caucus, leadership in Parliament, and leadership of the party.
Okay. We're reviewing, I mean, we're just talking about
Yes.
the book, but I just want to find out,
Yes.
does Muntaka talk about the fact that this probably was the reason he and others were tagged as hostile to the speaker, and thus must be removed as, part of the minority leadership?
There is a chapter also in the Dying Parliament. What is the chapter titled? Muntaka Haruna and the NDC School in Parliament. That substantively addresses this issue. I spoke extensively to MPs within the House, and they give interesting reasons. This might have been part because the Adjoa Safo thing led to open hostilities between Muntaka and Bagbin on the floor of Parliament.
Yes.
But there was a major reason that the NDC MPs thought Muntak and the speaker, that the leadership and the speaker didn't have a good working relationship. They call it horse trading. The details are in the book.
Horse trading. Oh, okay.
The details are in the book.
The details are in the book. So, I mean, when you buy the book,
I have not seen, and for a very long time, a Ghanaian book with so many chapters, and sometimes it's about historical stuff, right? So I've read others. I hardly read books that are of little relevance to me. I prefer what they call research papers. But every single, and most of them, chapter, or if you like chapter, I can call it chapter, right? Section has some intrigue to it. You would think that this was almost like a live recording of what was happening at the time. You get my point. So I was also following the ones you were sharing on social media. Yes. And in this conversation, I was even thinking we're going to spend all the time on those ones, the very nuggets that you were sharing. But every small part of this particular book is completely interesting. It can, I mean, if you want to choose milder words, it can reform governance, but also collapse government.
I am still fact that the deputy speaker actually admits to what is in effect handling bribes. Not just him, but the former minority chief whip. Am I mischaracterizing the situation here? Or have they admitted in Manasseh's book that they actually handled and paid bribes?
I am at the page, but if I read everything here, you have to
people
buy
will
one.
not buy them.
Yes, this attitude of people,
Manasseh,
people borrowing books and not returning and saying Raymond Fadia Mami
Raymond
will not work. Buy
fact,
and read some.
people have
That means that this is mine, right?
people are actually asking me now. They say, how much is the book? Even before we finish, they are asking me to arrange the book for the book, and they will send me the money. So Manasseh, give us the price so that I start arranging.
It's 300 cedis.
I want accountability, please. All those who have said, how much is the book? Manasseh says 300 cedis.
So I'm just quoting a portion of what he said. That I would call the chief of staff and say, our members have sat and they are demotivated. You expect us to sit for long hours and finish. So you have your government quickly. Can you motivate members?
Motivation.
They will say, okay, how many are they? Then they will bring in the money for members. So are you able to mention how much often comes from the presidency? Oh, do you think it's necessary? He asked, laughing. I nodded. It's not. If someone gives you a gift to motivate you, and you want the whole world to know how much it is, and he doesn't even stop here. He talks about members who are people who are nominated to come for vetting, and when they come, they want to pay money. So he said that before the 2017 vetting, he told the majority leader that he wasn't going to be the one to take money and give it to people. So if you want to give the money, deal directly with the MPs. So this is an admission.
No middleman.
Yes.
Deal directly with the MPs.
Yeah. Yes. That people come.
So this could confirm that there were people who dealt directly with the MPs.
Yes,
Like some MPs complained some time ago.
I spoke to multiple sources for this and this book. MPs, some certain MPs and some past, and a state-owned agency's head, and they say you don't appear in Parliament without paying money. Some said even the Public Accounts Committee. That's what really shocked me. Those that are supposed to scrutinize, yes. This is what the MPs are saying.
Is this still motivation or gifts you are talking about?
I don't know, but this could pass for a bribe because people have misused our funds.
Yeah.
You are supposed to hold them accountable, scrutinize them. And what parliamentarians, MPs are telling me when I was doing this book, that when they come, they pay money.
As what?
I don't know. And Jose Uso, he said that, look, the payments became, so when the people come and he even says, you don't have to pay money, they'll still not be convinced. So, yes.
That means he may not go away. The standard is to pay.
Yes. So he says, okay, so I'm quoting him. I did an interview. The interview was recorded, so I just want to quote. So he said, because of that perception, some of the nominees came to me and said, Speaker, is there something we should do? When I said no, they said, are you sure? It's me who you can trust me. We want to be generous to the committee. So he told the nominees, whoever you want to be generous to, deal with that person. Okay.
So do you know what might be the way of determining whether or not these monies were bribes? Have any of the president's nominees been rejected by the committee?
No, sometimes they refer the matter to Parliament to go and vote on it. Let's say minority may have difficulties and there's a report. That report goes to the floor. Plenary will then clear it and move on with the person.
I know somebody who was rejected.
I mean,
he didn't qualify. I mean, he had not renounced his citizenship, and so he didn't qualify. Yeah.
Talking about more recent ones, all right?
Yeah,
the ones that are in the...
No.
A very long time ago, of course. Some of the people did not...
No,
appear.
we're talking about the ones that would have been captured by these events described in the book.
No.
And Kojo, in any evolved society, the specialized investigation teams in this republic, including the OSP, would have picked this book.
Would have bought it for 300 Ghana cedis.
Or a lot more than that. Yeah, because some of the things we expect them to do, this has already been done for them, so we should just continue with it. And take on the matter, invite the people, and move on with it. You get what I'm trying to say? You talk about a certain businessman, and up to the day we are talking today, there is information in this book about this businessman who went to broker peace in Parliament.
No, he went to pay money to.
Yes, I mean I chose
that's so the backstory I got when I was speaking to MPs was that they didn't reject the money because of maybe they are very honest or they didn't want it. In the Kenofreata Must Go campaign, there were two sides.
Okay.
And the giving was so open that they feared one side might go and then leak it. But they told me that businessman is the CEO of a waste management company.
I thought you were going to leave that for people and find out when they buy the book.
And then, there's so much upon in this book that
I agree with you. I agree. For the apport there.
And I got this confirmation from also sources close to the office of the special prosecutor that this waste management company CEO was actually invited and then interrogated.
Okay. So we can draw that. We know waste management company CEOs in this republic.
Somebody also wants to find out.
There are a number of them.
Yeah, you can narrow down.
Wants to find out. Okay, you finished answering
there are very
that question.
popular ones that we know.
Manasseh, is it the one you investigated some time ago?
The officials did not go on record with the name.
But I'm asking you whether you found that out.
They told me the name,
okay.
But I...
Not on record.
Yes.
Okay.
And normally when I have been sued like...
Manasseh, if they told you the name not on record, don't worry, I won't demand the name.
As happens often in your case.
Because
normally, if I sit on radio and say somebody has done ABC, then maybe I have
the record.
Oh no, I agree with you.
Yes.
If they didn't go on record,
Yes.
even if they went on record and said between the two of you, I won't force you to say it.
They have mentioned that
Yes,
to me.
no,
So
don't say
I
it.
know the waste management company CEO they mentioned, but at the end of the day, as I mentioned, because
I can reasonably infer.
So we can list them and ask them to come and remove themselves from the conversation.
Well, that would be for joy.
So I can infer. I can do my own inference and know the waste management company you're talking about. So we'll leave it at that.
And you'll be speculating.
I won't say it on radio.
Okay. Yes. No, but in all fairness, we have not gotten to even the political scoops that are in this book. The interesting political scoop. There's a part you say Otufo informed President Akufo-Addo about Napo.
Yes, about Napo's appointment. Because Napo wasn't Akufo-Addo and then his family's choice. They wanted someone else. So bringing up that conversation, Baumia, I'm told from close sources, was actually dodging that difficult conversation. So he went to tell Otumfuo about it. Sources say over 2 months before having that meeting with Akufo-Addo. And a month before that, he had also even informed former President Kufuor about his choice. So I'm told Otumfuo came to Accra, and then when he met with the president, that discussion came up. And quite a number of other interesting details.
Yes, very interesting details.
Manasseh, we need to start buying the book. Raymond could not buy it, but I can buy
I checked my money was
but
not
I can
to
buy
it. It's the financial situation in the country.
We are all going to pick up our copies today, and then we'll pay by
We are not taking it for free.
No, we will pay.
I'm holding Joy SMS copy, which ordinarily should come to me directly.
But it will not. It will
But
not.
I think in order to also help the more people to write more books, even if you pay for the Joy SMS copy.
You take this one first.
Yeah.
For the Joy SMS
This is
copy.
on record. This is my copy.
Okay. So Raymond is paying for the Joy SMS.
Yes, he
copy.
was paying for the Joy SMS.
Eh,
Oh,
say-
no, I'm adding 50 to it for you.
okay.
250.
Could you just add?
I also pay for
Add
my
50.
copy.
Yeah. Yes.
So-
So this
DJ
one
Obeti is buying me one.
So I pay for the Joy SMS copy,
Yes.
which
Yes,
I'm
but-
taking home because I know these boys they don't like reading, but this one you have to read.
No, this
okay?
one we are supporting Manasseh to
Yeah, no.
write more books. But Manasseh, someone says, so did you also find out that the motivation, when it comes to budget debates and all of that, they call this thing to also bring motivation?
And
So-
they sack the journalists at some point.
Yes.
You will find out in this book, and a former MP says nothing moves through that house without money being paid.
Hey,
Yes.
it's a
This is what
clearinghouse.
And
So it
MP
means that the conversation years ago that even was it the National Lottery or whatever had to pay money to the Finance Committee to have their bill passed
The PCRP of raised allegations
and all of
the other
that.
things that
All
Yes.
these could
what the MPs told me, and I didn't speak to one MP. I spoke to about 6 MPs, and they don't say good things about the house. And Muntaka actually said not many MPs come there to do the work of Parliament. That if you take the 270 members, you will not get up to 100 members who go to Parliament to do the work of Parliament. They come, and all they are looking for is money. This is what someone who has been in Parliament for over 2 decades is saying. That if you take the 270 MPs, 75 MPs, you will not get up to even 100 of them who come there to do the work of Parliament. So it's just like, okay, you have 75 people coming to work in Joy FM,
Yeah.
and they will tell you, not even 100 of them are coming because of the work.
In Parliament.
Yes.
Yeah, that sometimes is obvious to some of us from this
And that
perspective.
some engage in other activities, even such as visa racketeering.
Members of Parliament.
Yes.
I've done a story on that.
And there is this I interviewed people. Munchaka's interview was on record. So these things are all captured in the book.
So I think people
So
should.
when we say it's a dying parliament, maybe it's just an understatement.
There's, one thing that you talk about, the scandal Akufo-Addo initiated.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
This under major corruption scandals
Yes.
of the Akufo-Addo era.
Yes.
Yes. So when COVID came, they found all ways and means to make money. So this chapter starts with a conversation I had with the mayor of Accra. They were doing fumigation. The government had done some that people criticized. So the AMA, supported by UNICEF, was doing one that made more sense to the scientific community. They would go to the station, clean the work surfaces and all of that. Then they asked them to stop. Why? We are awarding a contract to a company to come and do the work. So Joy FM is, you have the capacity to do some work. You are doing it. And then they say, okay, you stop. We'll get another company to do what you're already doing and pay more. this company already had about 2 or 3 standing fumigation contracts with the government. I went to the Afram Plains, North, Donko Krum, either North or South. I think that should be North.
North, that should be
Yes,
North, yeah.
Donko Krum. And DCE told me that they were fumigating the markets, churches, schools, and other places. Mosques, they were doing that for free. And they were asked to stop. And this scandal was actually initiated by Akufo-Addo. Yes.
Executive president.
Yes. Because I ordered that schools be fumigated and all of that. And at the launch of one of the exercises at the Independence Square, the Greater Accra Regional Minister at the time actually said this is a directive from His Excellency the President. So I went asking the scientists that if you shut down a school, the University of Ghana, for instance, didn't record any case. Schools were shut down 4 days after Ghana recorded its first case. And no single institution had recorded COVID-19 case. So if you shut down a school for 4 months, and then you mix chlorine and you are pouring it on the heat, the streets of the University of Ghana, the dumbest scientists at Legon would know that it doesn't make sense. And the dumbest person in Akufo-Addo's cabinet knew that it didn't make sense. So why did they do it? And we spent hundreds of millions. And it is something I'll be seeking from the Auditor General. When you look at the Auditor General's report on COVID-19 spending, it didn't capture any of those spendings by the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development. But it was a major COVID-19 spending. When I wrote, they gave me parts of the, not all the information. But what they gave me is close to 400 million cedis spent by that ministry alone. And it's not captured in the report. But when I did a right to information request, they sent me the spendings and some of the contracts. But this is not in the Auditor General's report. So there's so much happening in this country that...
Let's continue with the book. And Manasseh, I see one that really caught my attention. Of the weak chief of staff and the power brokers in the Jubilee House.
Page 139.
Page 139. Who are those power brokers, and why is the chief of staff considered weak?
Well, in the Fourth Republic, there has been one chief of staff, and in that book I said who was nicknamed the headmaster, not because of the distinctive shape of his head.
It could be the reason too.
But because of the power he wielded at the time.
When they mention head matters, people don't want to participate. Yeah.
We're not talking just about the size of the head. I mentioned shape in this case, so you are spared for now.
Wow.
So, that was Mr. Mpianim, Kojo Mpianim. And the cabinet minister told me that when this chief of staff calls a minister or appointee, the reaction is often like, okay, if I have time, I will go. That wasn't what happened in some administrations. So who wields power? I asked Gabi in my interview that so is like the old lady of the administration that if the president really needs to confer with before taking a critical decision, apart from the Council of State, which is more or less like a rubber stamp institution. He has his answers, but I also try to understand the power play, the power dynamics. So I asked one source to list in order of importance, the most powerful people in this administration. And I think I asked for 5, he mentioned 4. And I don't have the list offhand, but it is in the book.
I've seen that part, but
Yes.
yeah.
So, to understand the administration, it isn't only about people who hold positions.
I've seen the list, yeah. But we'll spare.
We will let you buy and read
Buy
for
the
yourself.
book.
You see, that's the problem. I know you want us to read it, but
The only thing I can say is that of the 4 most powerful persons, the last person happens to be the vice president.
The number 2 is number 4.
Find out who and who are more powerful than the vice president.
I like the number 2.
But there's one name that is not here.
Yeah, that appeared somewhere. In 140, there's a name mentioned already.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's a part that says you are as powerful as the president wants you to be. Some with lower positions can be more powerful than those in high positions, he said. And he said people such as... Yeah, the first name is important. Then the second name is also important. But when you bring it, then the president's brother is mentioned as number 3 on that list. But the official listing, no. Number 2. Number 2, is it?
Well, hold on a second. They should get the book. You see, when you get the book.
Oh, sometimes I forget that.
No.
Yeah,
I want people
sometimes
to.
I believe in sharing information with you. But this one, you buy and read some, okay?
Yeah, we like free things, buy and read.
I think I was at MTN's. They were launching a book club last week.
Oh, yeah.
And then they were talking about either reading the text itself or audio book.
Yeah.
And the reason someone gave for preferring the text is that you get the flavor when you read it. So beyond the information, bits and pieces that you get here, when you read the book itself, every chapter, it will veer into a number of very interesting detail that maybe it may not be that necessary, but you realize, okay, so it's true that of all the people that the Watson Commission invited for the public hearing in 1948, only one was a woman. And that only woman was the mother of President Akufo-Addo.
Yeah.
Why was she the only one?
There
are reasons. So it may not be the major thing in the chapter, but you get to learn so much more about
this is a book that should be on the reading list of political science students, because this is like continuation of Okwe's politics in Ghana. It takes a period, and mostly we write 10, 15 years after the period. But this one, the man is ending his tenure, and it encapsulates things that happen. It's far more current than some of the current things we discussed today. That's what, to me, makes it very interesting. It's almost like your panoramic view of what has happened over the last 7 or so years in one document. You understand? So if you just appeared on Earth and wanted to know what's been happening in Ghana in the last 7 years, this book is perhaps your most important reference.
I like this bit here. This one, I'll just read bits and pieces of that. It says, who is the old lady in the Akufo-Addo presidency apart from the Council of State? I asked Gabi Ochredako. An old lady, he asked. In our local parlance, the person the president consults before making critical decisions, I explained. The chief of staff is one, he said. I'm sure there are others. Are you one of them? When he feels like saying something to me, he may say it. I'm not part of his system, but it's quite obvious that some of us are close to him. So if he feels he needs to take my view on something or tell me as a matter of information, he can tell me. But there's no system as if we meet and plan. Are you his closest family member? It's his brother, Bumpty, Edward Akufo-Addo. His father told him, that's President Akufo-Addo, to look after his younger brother before he died. So they're very close. Bumpty is the closest family member. There are no two ways about that. I'm also close to him, but I'm not the only one, Gabi added. Manasseh, I know we do the same work. You knew something when you were asking these questions. I'm not asking you to share that with us, but you knew something when you were asking these questions.
And there is a substantive chapter on, I think that chapter is titled, When Prime Minister Gabi Called a Bank Manager.
Yeah, there is actually.
That's my biggest revelation.
I was going to ask you to go there, but
You can go there.
118, page 118. If you also have the book, we can go through with you. I know you don't have the book, so yeah,
but we're
page 180. You can write it down when you get a copy of the book.
No,
yes.
but I mean, I can understand why Manasseh was asking these questions, because some people meet the president all the time. Mostly in the evenings.
Yes, Gabi, for instance, said he and Bumpty often met the president around 11 p.m. Yes, in the night.
I mean, almost every day when the president is available, they meet. Yes.
I know when Dr. Baumia met Akufo-Addo and they discussed the selection of Napo, the following morning, Gabi's radio station broke the news. And that day, my sources said Gabi went to see the president. So sources close to Baumia believe that it was Gabi
That was
who
the
leaked
original
it.
source.
Yes. So all of that is captured in the book.
Oh, I see.
Oh, but people were asking people what are the sources for your information. When we also did a story, remember? People were asking, the president is worried. They don't know if he.
About who? Oh, no,
No,
that's
but the president shouldn't be worried because the National Investigation Bureau, former BNI report that leaked, they said it was actually commissioned by the president. But it leaked before the president heard it. So he was furious.
Oh,
but on that one, for instance, I mean, and Raymond Kojo, we've had this conversation before, that yes, it was obvious that the vice president had settled on NAPO. He was going to inform the president. But even before informing the president, yes, he had gotten others to actually tell the president, this is his choice. He knew that the president had a few concerns. In fact, the National Investigative Bureau also, after the conduct of this whole investigation, probably gave it to some of the persons who were in line, as if they had open nominations, but who were in line to becoming running mates. And one of them leaked it to the media. But I got information, even before they informed the president, that the vice president had decided that he was still going to settle on NAPO. But in fact, the first time I heard that was in 2020.
Even before he ran, he was sure.
Yeah.
It was Akufo-Addo who wasn't, Akufo-Addo was also sure, but Baumia wasn't in the picture at all. He wasn't even in the list of Akufo-Addo's potential running mates at the time.
Yeah.
So that Baumia's name first came up in Guinea when Akufo-Addo was consulting some West African presidents for this position. So it was when the Eureka movement happened and they had to start pursuing Baumia. And all of that is captured in the book.
So is it a similar system Baumia used to?
Baumia knew
long before
from day one that should he win the flag bearer position, he was going to settle on NAPO. But that was also based on a number of political calculations and permutations. If Baumia had his way without any political consideration, his running mate would have been a certain prominent pastor.
Yeah,
that is in the book.
That the title is a very big title.
Yes.
Okay, but I think that people who want to know how, especially those who are also in my bank, who save at the same bank like me, how our bank was saved from what they call it, having its license revoked, is in the book.
Yes.
Yeah, the part our bank. So we are grateful for those of us who had our money at the bank.
Well,
we are grateful for the information. We didn't.
Well, I got it from a source that says that look, this bank was going to go down, but somebody from the president's family intervened, and I went to this person, and the person said, "Well, I lobbied for them because they had a good case."
Yeah,
the president's relative.
And he says he tries to use his influence legitimately. Yeah, that is the quote there. I mean, it's very intriguing. It's one of the things that you want to read. Stay up throughout the night. It's not always that you spend your money in nightclubs and the other things. Sometimes you should spend your money reading, okay?
Well, a certain lawyer sent me a message this morning that he did a readathon yesterday.
Oh, yeah, because if you start, you don't know where you want to end.
Oh, yes.
I mean, you will be picking some elements.
Some of these information, some of the information are things, we know. But there's something new all the time. Something that actually, so I'm reading the bit about how Otumfuo, and I remember how somebody, contacted me and said, Charlie, it's going to be NAPO, it's going to be NAPO. And I just remembered that in 2020, I was somewhere, and in that meeting, the conversation, it was a boys conversation. It was three of us. One person was going to be the coordinator of Baumia in the OT region. I'm sure Manasseh would know that person. And he says, oh, well, so is it going to be Baumia and Oforiatta? Then the other person says, no, it's not going to be Baumia and Oforiatta. But it's actually settled on NAPO. And that was in 2020. At the time, even before the elections, and they were having this discussion. Because in certain quarters, the feeling was that Ken Ofori-Atta and Bawumia were going to be the ticket. That whole thing had been toyed with initially. But this guy says, no.
But even at a point, I heard Ken himself wanted to, was nurturing the idea or entertained the idea of ever running. That was
in the early stages.
In the early stages.
Yeah, that was in the early stages when we went out of the IMF program, when we had the triple jubilation and celebration.
The Kinky.
And the Wache party.
Those are your additions. Triple jubilation.
Yeah, but we did.
So what were the triple jubilation? Some successful bonds we had.
Yes.
And then it is clear that
the IMF program,
the person leading us
an
in those
appreciation
bonds
of the Ghana
was also.
cedi. So we did a Kinky and Wache party.
Yeah, I get your point, but his one I didn't get. The person leading us is not part of the celebration. The celebration was the economic successes we had in that period. Is not so?
Yes.
Yeah, and we're eating local foods to celebrate that.
Yes.
Those were the flamboyant, white-wearing, Bible-quoting days that were functional. You said it's Old Testament, right?
We've never stopped quoting the Bible, have we?
Old Testament.
Old
And
Testament.
we've never
Old
stopped wearing
Testament.
white.
Yeah.
No, but when I talked about the Old Testament, the next time they quoted New Testament.
They added some flavor to it.
But all that's why the Old Testament. But that's on a lighter note.
Anyway.
Old Testament. Okay. So I see. We know the Akufo-Addo's pledge to be to God became Ghana's yoke. Manasseh, is that a cathedral?
The cathedral.
I am interested in the NDC's military-style operation that thrown back. But in that also, I want to look at how a judge was promised the Speaker of Parliament, because that's actually about the book. You start with that. How a judge was promised Speaker of Parliament, was supposed to have been made Speaker. By the 28th of December thereabout, they were still mentioning his name. By the beginning of the new year, we heard Michael Quay.
Want his position back.
Yes. Manasseh.
Yes. So the Supreme Court judge is actually mentioned in that book. And they actually call this Supreme Court judge and say, prepare, we are going to make you Speaker. So this Supreme Court judge actually called the Deputy Speaker, Joe Osei-Wusu, that have been asked to stand by to become the next Speaker. So they said I should call you for you to guide me. So that was happening. But this Supreme Court judge said, if you want me to resign, then send an official letter so that I resign. The presidency didn't send a letter. The next time the Supreme Court judge hears on the radio, someone else, that's Michael Quay, is asked to go for this position. And a source very close to Akufo-Addo says one of his biggest regrets in politics. He regrets appointing Martin Amidu, and Gabi confirmed that. But he also regrets not presenting the Supreme Court judge as the Speaker. And then to placate this Supreme Court judge who had already missed out on being the Chief Justice, we are told he goes to appoint a protege of the Supreme Court judge to
The Supreme Court.
to the High Court. And people say, no, this person is a politician. Why do you do that? In less than 2 years, this person goes to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, because.
But the day they were swearing this judge in at the High Court, Akufo-Addo and this Supreme Court judge had a very interesting conversation at the Jubilee House, and it is captured in the book.
So that's the section and says how one Supreme Court judge was appointed to appease another
Supreme Court judge.
Page 161 for reference.
Okay.
So sometimes we talk about, okay, what goes into some of these appointments, because
And the selections as
yes,
well.
if you have to appoint someone to the Supreme Court
The highest court of the
or
land.
even the courts, someone to be a judge, they should be based on certain considerations that should be to the benefit of Ghanaians.
That's
But
if you're
if-
acting in the interest of Ghanaians.
But if you appoint someone to appease another person and no any other position than the Supreme Court,
And
that
the
for
names
me-
are there. We have seen
Yes,
the names.
I have
Just
seen-
that you have to buy. Page 166 is where the names are. You have to
I've
buy
seen
and see the names.
and these are people I've known for years. I've known them for more than 30 years.
166.
I've known them for more than 30 years.
And the
No, it's
interesting
very
thing is,
painful if you don't have the book.
and the interesting thing is that there were actually multiple confirmations. So somebody mentions it, and then you try to push, okay, I don't know this, but then you go to that person and they.
But you see, the thing about that Supreme Court judge being speaker, for instance, is that when he was informed that he was going to be speaker. And he's from the Volta region. There are certain people within the, even the NDC caucus, who had, told him, we'll vote for you. So if he had gone through, in fact, if he had been appointed, I am sure even the NDC, bearing in mind, knowing what could happen, may probably have said,
No, they may not have presented.
don't present Bagbin. In fact, there are some people within NDC who told me if they had brought this man, we wouldn't have presented Bagbin. Because who would have also insisted that we have one of our own there? Don't try.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's actually true. So, but this is what happened in the council meeting. Another person, so all of them knew that this was the man who was going to go. But then another person, very high party member, also starts lobbying for the speaker position.
And the argument they use, that's captured in this book, is that, look, this is a parliament that is almost evenly split.
Yeah.
We need someone who is tried and tested, who can bully their way through when things are hard. You trusted Martin Amidu, who was not a true party man. Look at what he did to us. So if you give it to this man, and he becomes a moderate or somebody who wants to play fair,
The fear was
we are
that-
likely to have
The
issues.
fear was that the man is fair, moderate. His rulings, you can't determine, where he might be all the time. So, why don't you go with somebody Michael Kwe? But even then, somebody, high party official, had also expressed interest. Subsequently, he became a board chairman. He continued being a board chairman. I haven't mentioned names. Anyway, Raymond, you're reading that bit, eh?
Yes, I am still on the. There's a bit of talk about Justice Janice J2, and I think people agree that it's a fantastic judge by all standards. Has been at the appeals court, the Court of Appeal for since 2010 or so.
Yes.
And yet, when it comes to elevation to the Supreme Court, we don't know the scheme. If it is competence and qualification, many would have thought that
Justice Dennis J.
Yes.
Because when I spoke to people, they mentioned his name a lot.
It's a prevailing thought within the legal fraternity.
Manasseh, there was a campaign to drop Baumia for Ambrose Derry.
Yes. As running mate. After 2008, about 90% of the MPP MPs in Parliament were rooting for Ambrose Derry. He said Baumia was a liability and he didn't bring anything to the ticket. And those of us who saw Baumia then in 2008
Would have agreed.
yes, I said somewhere that he didn't have what it took to convince some primary school children to vote for the party. It is one thing having the ideas, but he wasn't a politician. So at the time, they had a case. I even spoke to this man, Dan Botry, who was one of those who opposed Baumia's nomination as a running mate at the council meeting. He was one of those who opposed. So when I spoke to him, he confirmed that he did oppose, but it was on a good reason. So I asked him, what about now? He said, well, now no rational person or reasonable person would think that Baumia doesn't deserve to be where he is today. So from 2008 to 2012, his saving grace was the Supreme Court case. But within the period, a lot of things happened.
Are you worried about how the president will respond to your book?
Well, these are things that have happened. Some are known, some are new. Those that I've known, they are new perspectives from people I spoke to. I don't know how he will respond. But at the end of the day, a book is like, or if you're a writer, you should expect criticism. Sometimes someone will read a book and say, "This is the best book I've written." I've read. Another person will read and say, "Oh, the writing is so terrible." So, those who have seen it say it's an excellent book, but it's not a perfect book. So we are waiting to see what they will say. But a Minister of State actually said what is in there is explosive. He has seen the content.
And I agree, there is explosive stuff in there. Some that may even require state institutions who are interested in investigation to take up.
Yeah.
Or probably learn from. Yeah.
I'm going to spend the whole night reading this. Manasseh,
There's a bag
I'll
full
read
of
everything
dollars.
tonight.
Have you seen the bag full of dollars part 24? A bag full of dollars and a Supreme Court judge's call to an NDC MP.
This is what, page 24?
No, 234. That's chapter 24.
Oh, okay,
The
okay,
page
okay,
234.
Hey, not having this book moment must be painful right now.
Yes. I know people who are very angry that mentioned the pages, but it's don't worry. I'll get you a copy,
Supreme
okay?
Court judge's call to an
Okay.
NDC MP.